Champion for students and working families. Students and families need tuition-free college, and we need Senator Sanders' legislation to ensure that education is a right, not a privilege.
I still leave school with $26,000 in debt, and I am considered lucky out of other college students because the average college student leaves school with $29,400 in student loan debt.
I can't pay my student loans. Hey, that's him! Tax Wall Street.
Not Main Street.
Tax the 1% who ruined our economy.
Putting on the record exactly what his platform is.
The burden of student loan debt is making it much harder for young people to get mortgages and buy homes. Home ownership rates for young adults are among the lowest in decades. Young people are putting off marriage and having children partly because of the burden of student debt. Right now, working class families all over this country are asking themselves a very simple question, and their kids are asking a question. Does it make sense for them to go $40,000, $50,000, or $100,000 in debt in order to get a college education? And what many of these young people and families are saying is, no, it doesn't make sense. So in a competitive global economy, what we are saying to families all over this country, we do not want your kids to get a college education. We don't want them to become doctors or nurses, business people, scientists, teachers. We don't want them to expand their intellectual capability and make us a competitive nation in this highly competitive global economy. According to a Pew study of 18 to 34-year-olds who haven't completed college, 48% say they cannot afford to do so. What does it say about our country when hundreds and hundreds of thousands of young people who want to contribute, who want to do more with their lives, cannot get the education that they need? It deprives them from, in many cases, making it into the middle class, and it denies this nation the intellectual capabilities that they have. So here's the bottom line. The bottom line that all over this country, students and their families are facing crushing debts, radically impacting their lives and the choices that they make. And there are some in the United States Senate who say, yeah, that's pretty bad. How can we make it even worse? How can we raise interest rates for our kids? Make it harder for them to go to college. Make sure that when they get out of college, they are more deeply in debt. And I say no. I think that's absurd. I would remind you, Mr. President, that when Wall Street banks borrow money, you know what they're getting it for today? Less than 1%, 0.75%. And we are talking now about families having to spend 6%, 7%, 8%, 9% in order to send their kids to college, to help our country, to make it into the middle class. That's absurd. We have got to make sure that every qualified American in this country who wants to go to college, who has the ability and the desire to go to college, is able to go to college regardless of the income of his or her family. How are we going to pay for the estimated $750 billion over the next 10 years that this program will cost? And here's the answer. At a time of massive income and wealth inequality, at a time when trillions of dollars in wealth have been shifted from the middle class and working families of this country to the top 0.1%, at a time when the wealthiest people in this country have made huge amounts of money from risky derivative transactions and the soaring value of the stock market, this legislation would impose a speculation fee on Wall Street investment houses and hedge funds. More than 1,000 economists have endorsed a tax on Wall Street speculation, and today some 40 countries throughout the world have already imposed a financial transaction tax, including Britain, Germany, France, Switzerland, China, and many others. This legislation would impose a Wall Street speculation fee of 0.5% on stock trades, a 0.1% fee on bonds, and an even lower fee on derivatives.